What? Can't somebody loiter about a protocol without someone casting assuming glances their way? I know a presumptive look when I see it. You can't tie me to that. I'm just standing here. Wait. All right, I'll talk. 6 or 7 months ago, some Auntie's Choice clock puncher made a shipping error. Sent a few crates of failed grafting materials here to Cloister. You know that grafting program they used to have? Where they'd give some hapless hullhead a big monster arm, torn off one of a bunch of different deadly creatures?
Easy, pal. Unless you want to see this monster arm in action. Up close.
Sorry. See, you already got the memo. These crates arrived full of rejected Crabble graft parts. Sat untouched for months till I found them. And I thought, little rebranding, the right angle? Bet I could sell these. I'm getting to that. Yeesh. I met this protectorate officer. Smug as all get out, naive as the day is long. Said she had logistical supply concerns and needed means to feed the personnel guarding the archive. As the plan would have it, I told her I got a shipment of, imitation Crabble meat. You repackage and relabel it, it'll pass for protectorate rations just fine. She agreed. Bought a few crates on the spot, promised to send word when she needed more. I just had to grind up everything first. Remove a few telltale chunks. I can't take full credit or blame. I simply misrepresented misallocated materials for profit. I am merely a humble opportunist. Here's an audio cartridge with all the details. Those troops hear what they've been eating? I don't know what'll happen, but they won't be happy about it. That's for sure. Don't mention it to anyone, especially not those damn snoops at Winter's Grasp.
Any news from the field? Any further progress? Learn anything useful? Ha! A base opportunist after my own heart. Well, she can continue swindling the Protectorate then. Here's a little something for your trouble.
Investigating hostile intentions. Mobilizing. If only we had a device for closing rifts, like the one we found on Praetor.
You there! You need to leave. This is a holy site. Non-believers are not welcome. Did you not hear me? You must leave unless you wish to be ushered into perfection before the rest of this architect-forsaken colony. You know, merged with the Rift. By being thrown in. No, we're not unthinking fools swayed by superstition. Our beliefs are scientifically proven by the esteemed leader themselves, who is infallible. Obviously, this is a wondrous time, friend. Our name was not chosen at random. It is a glorious dawn for all humankind. The rifts are a means to achieve a perfect state of being, and they are once again active after laying relatively dormant for years. The end of our tortured existence is nigh. I don't know what to say to that. Is that good? I need guidance. Hierarch Wolcott! So, the power to manipulate rifts. That seems, let me just say I apologize if I've offended you in any way.
Did I hear something about manipulating the rifts, Acolyte? That smacks of false scientism, bordering on heresy. You should know that the rifts are inviolate perfection, and you You may be able to fool an acolyte, but I'm not as easily flummoxed. In what way can you possibly manipulate that which is the Architect's own tool for our salvation? Yes, of course it does. Makes perfect sense. If it does, in fact, do such. Can never be too certain about things of such import. A lot of crazed theoreticians about. Come, prove to me this device can do what you say. Then I will decide. But let me assure you, if you do anything but follow me to the rift, violence will ensue. I must admit to a certain modicum of suspicion towards your claims, but consider my interest piqued.
Why is the Hierarch leading outsiders to the rift?
Something of great import is afoot. No one gets escorted to the rift. Is it time for sacrifices? When's our turn?
Acolyte Martin said he heard them talking about a device that can change the nature of the rift.
That's preposterous. There must be some tomfoolery at hand.
I am happy to obey the dictates of our leaders. I am loyal. I am happy to obey the dictates of our leaders.
If you can indeed control the rift, as you say, that changes things. It could force us to rethink our... Do not wander too far. My threat of violence is not to be taken lightly. The acolytes will open fire if you don't stay near me. We are here. Prove to me that your device can manipulate the rift, as you claim. Gods, this should not be possible. That device borders on the heretical. You will hand it over now, and then we shall decide what to do with you. You're serious? Let's not do anything rash here. We will give you no more trouble. Acolytes of the glorious dawn, prepare. We leave this place within the hour.
Ours is not to question why. Ours is to obey. If it's time for us to go, we go.
Yeah!
Those outsiders must have secret information from the esteemed leader themselves. Nothing else makes sense. We were supposed to be here until our ascension.
Yeah.
I can't believe I spent all that time cleaning up corpses and we're just leaving.
will happily move on if the Hierarch and Esteemed Leader say we must, but it just don't make sense.
Why are we leaving? I thought Walcott said we were stationed here until it was our turn to join with the Rift.
This device reeks of cultist. Ought to have Azza take a look.
Nice of you to shoulder a bit of the workload.
Hey, we could use more go-getters like you.
Glad we could make a deal.
Any news from the field? Any further progress? What are you doing standing?
Yeah.
I'm a huge admirer of your work from a safe distance.
Protectorate broadcast. Decision making is superior to the Sultan. something. Hope you brought the bits to back that up. Just don't mention where it came from.
Wouldn't be here to deliver news of my transfer going through, would you? How might I help you? Yup, Auntie's choice heals all ails. Not responsible for epidermal necrolysis, vanishing fingerprints, or immediate onset pernicious anemia.
Bet they'll name you Employee of the Fiscal Quarter.
Thanks for working hard, so I don't have to.
You look unfortified. Getting enough emulsifiers in your diet?
Yeah.
Have a profitable day.
You have needs. I have purloined goods to come again.
I always find I work best when undistracted. One could say I find the cultist at Newton quite the interruption to my focus. Now, how might we be of use to one another? I find myself wishing you'd been less persuasive. With the cultists alive, they'll stand to impede us elsewhere. Nonetheless, you did as I asked. Here is your reward. You've proven yourself well, but we have recently experienced a pivotally important, unforeseen development. One I must meet directly. Can I count on you? One of the satellites comprising the Hyperion web was struck by a wayward craft and crashed on Paradise Island. I need someone to recover an informational component from it. The web is an order-crafted network of information collection satellites. Our would-be Protectorate overlords squandered them as glorified surveillance devices. We actually implanted a backdoor in the web to bring it back under our control, should a circumstance like this arise. But we did not foresee certain Protectorate modifications. But let's not speak of that. Find a way past the Protectorate at the crash site, collect the data, and return it here. Violence is likely, but perhaps you'll find an alternative. Only theoretically. The Protectorate guarding the site will be anything but welcoming. You'd likely need to find something, or someone, to wrest their attention away from you. I cannot say how that might be accomplished, unfortunately. Some of our scholars find answers to their solutions at the CAF integration point. Perhaps you might do the same. Collect the data from the crashed site and return it here. May the odds prevail against your bloody demise.
Always nice to see a regular. Anyway, what can I do for you?
Since they increase the protein content of the berries without affecting their texture or flavor.
Kind of you to say, but I merely prioritize salience over eloquence. Too many in the Order forget how to be people while they're pursuing godhood.
You know, you do a passable impression of a scientician. Did you grow up near one of our settlements? Have a few years of Order training?
I'm quite sure I don't know what you mean.
Oh, I understand you may technically count as a member, but there's a perfunctory element to your articulation. You don't believe in the plan, and you're clearly up to something. She sized you up almost immediately, Commander. Been softly probing you for information. I clocked her the first moment she opened her mouth. Excellent question. I've been wondering the same thing. Well, do I have to shoot up the place? Or will you come clean immediately? Who do you work for, little mole?
By the Architect, keep your voice down, please. Even if what you say is true, this isn't a conversation best had amidst present company. Let's talk somewhere more private. Behind the CAF integration point, perhaps?
This popular number
You must be curious why I asked for such a discreet rendezvous. Dear me. I hope you weren't expecting some illicit tryst, you wicked thing. On the contrary, I need your help proving a certain theory of mine. I have adequate reason to believe the Order is conducting a mass experiment on the population of Laplace's garden. The Order is not cultivating its perfect, plan-abiding society through careful ideological pruning, as the laureates would have you believe. It's simple pharmacology. Put bluntly, they're regulating the emotions of everyone in Laplace's garden through drugs in the water supply. Why would the Order want to create a society of undistractable little academics whose only desire is to advance the plan? I wonder. I'm limiting my water intake and using other pharmaceuticals to combat the effects. It's not a perfect system, but it works adequately enough. It makes the mind quieter, like closing the door on a screaming crowd. It's not unpleasant. Moderate your volume, please! No one here is in any immediate peril. Probably. The Order claims the subjects here supposedly consented to participate, but it was begun prior to the schism with the Protectorate, so who's to say? Regardless, if the Order has made some kind of pharmaceutical breakthrough, imagine how useful it might be to certain parties to know about it in advance. I represent a group of information traders who would pay well to get their hands on a sample of this drug. Interested? So you've heard of us. Good. That makes this easier. My primary task has been to watch the Order. But I'm confident my superiors would agree. Physical proof is of far greater value than mere rumor. Nothing nefarious, if that's the needle in your conscience. We only mean to study the drug and consider all of its many applications. I know that must read as terribly vague to you, but I'm not at liberty to provide more detail than that. Well, I'm not asking you to do something an honest person would. Think of this as a business transaction, if that eases your mind. All you need to do is enter water reconditioning and collect a sample of the drug. I believe they call it Perspective. This passcode will give you access to the main terminal. Watch the guards patrol before making your way into the facility. If worst comes to worst, I wager Laureate Beckett also has a keycard on him, but that might be tricky to lift. Lately, he's been sitting near the fountains, performing his silly little breathing exercises. If he's not there, then he's likely in conference with the presiding bishop. Whatever you do, be discreet. I can't have any laureates asking questions about me. Understood? It's too diluted by the time it enters circulation. I need the unfiltered drug, which is only accessible to those working in water reconditioning. Outside of work, I have, let's call it an alternative inventory. You'll have to pay, of course, but I'm sure I have something that'll make your job a little easier. And I'd like to offload some of this merchandise. Sounds like a win-win.
Did you know around 1,000 species of bacteria live on human skin? A fascinating, if not relevant, bit of trivia. Wouldn't you agree? And prodding me was intended to elicit what result, exactly? At any rate, I am quite conscious, merely waiting. I have no idea. Sometime last year, I predetermined an occasion of momentous import would happen today, right here, at these very coordinates. Unclear. I'm inclined to think this conversation may contain some portentous value, but I'll need to run a few more calculations to be sure. Leslie Beckett, Oracle Laureate, Seer Supreme, leader of the Department of Predictive Analysis, and not terribly good at informal introductions, evidently. Forgive me if I don't shake hands. I prefer to keep my skin microbiome free of exogenetic cells. You understand? But now, if I'm not mistaken, you must be the agent we've been expecting. I knew loitering at this location would yield results. I don't suppose you've stumbled upon any of our excogitation chapels around Cloister by chance? Excogitation chapels are order residencies where one can meditate in solitude on specific theorems relating to the plan. They're scattered all around Cloister. Prior to the war, such focused study led to all manner of breakthroughs, with audio logs routinely kept by the scientician in residence. In these unprecedented times, such logs could harbor hidden wisdom. However, with the war on, I've sadly been unable to get my hands on the last of these recordings. All confidential, I'm afraid. Many are still under peer review, but I can assure you, their value is commensurate with, the discovery of gravity, or has the potential to be. Oh no, I couldn't possibly ask you to endanger yourself by seeking out these logs. Cloister is rather treacherous, and some of the chapels are difficult to reach by design. However, if you happened upon these chapels and recovered these logs, I would most certainly be interested in their contents. By my reckoning, the amount of logs to be collected is 4. You have that? 4. No more, no less. Each chapel should have at least one somewhere inside. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. How do you know about that? I mean, that is quite the allegation. I deny it effusively. Yes, actually. Now that you mention it, I would. As you have cleverly sussed out, Laplace's garden is the subject of an experiment into social conditioning, or curating, if you will, through the use of therapeutic pharmacology. We have been administering a pharmaceutical to the population of the garden via the water supply that aids in emotional regulation. We call it perspective. It's odorless, harmless. Well, apart from the withdrawal, but I can assure you we have our best minds working on that little issue. Minor complication at worst.
Let me get this straight. You're here experimenting on folk freely, all the while calling us at Auntie's Choice barbarians for doing the same damn thing?
I beg your pardon, young miss, but it's hardly the same. This study was completely voluntary. The participants all gave their consent.
Yeah, I bet they did. Did you withhold research funding unless they signed up? Or did you feed them a story, like their participation is critical to some new advancements?
This experiment has the potential to improve Arcadian society 100-fold. Imagine the benefits of a self-sustaining city where all are content and serving the plan.
That's all I'm saying. Don't cry foul when you've got your own schemes going on.
Then that is a failure on the part of yours and your colleagues' understanding. It's nothing to do with the Order, at any rate. I have no interest in debating the ethics of this experiment with a layperson. No offense. Don't we all? Nothing beyond what I already included in my 165-page summary of the incident. Why do you ask? His resignation has been duly received and accepted. Where he goes from here or what he does now is up to him. I expect we won't hear from him anytime soon. On a more positive note, the Department of Predictive Analysis's biennial summits will be far less contentious. Landon Wiley was afflicted by that which strickens all scholars, the desire to effect change, to advance the plan at any cost. Were his methods wrong? Unequivocally. Should he have come to me with his concerns? Undeniably. But was his conclusion categorically sound? That remains debatable. Generally, yes. Although it's important to remember that unexpected outcomes can still arise from failed experiments. But let's move on to other topics, please. All this fractious talk is giving me a stomachache and... oh, I just got rid of the last one. Oh, the garden is a marvel, isn't it? A prime example of how this colony could function if led by science and rationality instead of fear and oppression. Everything within the garden was meticulously selected by a committee of the Order's best archivists to provide for mental clarity and focus. My word, you should have seen the debates over the shrubbery. I've never witnessed such passionate discourse over foliage of all things. And what a history it is. The Order of the Ascendant, along with the Archive, has been headquartered on this moon since the founding of the colony. It was given to us by the matriarch herself. She understood how vital our contributions would be to Arcadian society, which some have forgotten. It is why we're here, in fact. Cloister has two things in abundance, ice and geothermal power. Both made it the ideal location for the Archive, and we've utilized its vast computational power ever since. Who's to say it didn't? Do you think it mere coincidence the Order was ready to quit the Protectorate en masse the moment the invaders arrived? Seems statistically improbable. That's all I'll say. But other stray inquiries occupy your mind. Impossible, I'm afraid. The Protectorate is rather well entrenched at present, and nothing short of an all-out siege is likely to dislodge them. If you're determined, I recommend consulting with the presiding bishop on the matter. She can tell you more.